Hi, a warm welcome to SSLC Social Science online classes presented by Sri Sharda Mahila Vidya Samasthe, Yellampalli. In this video, we will try to understand unit number 2, Rural Development of Economics Division, Social Science subject. Since there are requests from rural students asking for us to engage classes in English as well as Kannada. Since our medium of examination is there in English, most of the time let us try to focus on English in order to make you understand the concept clear. I will try to use Kannada in between. Kindly don't expect me to teach entirely in Kannada. I will help you wherever necessary. Most of the time the medium of instructions will be in English only. Okay, in rare occasions where I need to help you with memory tips and understanding of the concept, I may use the Kannada language also. So let us begin the class without wasting any time. This unit, rural development, has the weightage of 3 to 4 marks. In this unit, we will focus on 4 important learnings. They are importance and meaning of rural development, importance or significance and meaning of rural development, rural development and decentralization, rural development and Panchayat Raj system or Panchayat Raj institutions, rural development and women. So these are all the 4 important aspects which we will be learning from this rural development unit, and we have a few important factors and figures which we need to remember. Facts and figures related to the literacy, I don't say literacy, the population size of India who lives in rural areas according to 2011 census, and percentage of population who focus and who does the agriculture activities, then number of village panchayats, gram panchayats and Jilla panchayats in Karnataka, and we need to remember definition of rural development, definition of decentralization, and the various activities related to rural development, and the role of Panchayat Raj institution in rural development, and role of the women in rural development. These are all the things which we will be focusing on. ಆತ್ಮೀಯ ವಿದ್ಯಾರ್ಥಿ ಮಿತ್ರರೇ, ಏನು ಈ ಒಂದು ಅಧ್ಯಾಯ ಗ್ರಾಮೀಣ ಅಭಿವೃದ್ಧಿ ಅರ್ಥಶಾಸ್ತ್ರದ ವಿಭಾಗಕ್ಕೆ ಸಂಬಂಧಿಸಿರ್ತಕ್ಕಂಥ ಒಂದು ಅಧ್ಯಾಯ. ಈ ಅಧ್ಯಾಯದಲ್ಲಿ 3 ರಿಂದ 4 ಅಂಕಗಳ ಪ್ರಶ್ನೆಗಳನ್ನು ಪರೀಕ್ಷೆಯಲ್ಲಿ ಕೇಳಲಾಗ್ತದೆ. ಇದರಲ್ಲಿ ಮುಖ್ಯವಾಗಿ ನಾವು ಏನು ಗ್ರಾಮೀಣ ಅಭಿವೃದ್ಧಿಯ ಅರ್ಥ, ಪ್ರಾಮುಖ್ಯತೆ, ಗ್ರಾಮೀಣ ಅಭಿವೃದ್ಧಿ ಮತ್ತು ವಿಕೇಂದ್ರೀಕರಣ, ಗ್ರಾಮೀಣ ಅಭಿವೃದ್ಧಿ ಮತ್ತು ಪಂಚಾಯತ್ ರಾಜ್ ವ್ಯವಸ್ಥೆ, ಗ್ರಾಮೀಣ ಅಭಿವೃದ್ಧಿ ಮತ್ತು ಮಹಿಳೆ, ಈ ಒಂದು 4 ವಿಷಯಗಳನ್ನು ತಿಳ್ಕೊಳ್ಳುತ್ತೇವೆ. ಅದೇ ರೀತಿಯಾಗಿ ಭಾರತದ ಒಂದು ಗ್ರಾಮೀಣ ಜನಸಂಖ್ಯೆಗೆ ಸಂಬಂಧಿಸಿದಂತೆ ಎಷ್ಟು ಜನ ಗ್ರಾಮೀಣ ಪ್ರದೇಶದಲ್ಲಿ, ಎಷ್ಟು ಪ್ರತಿಶತದಷ್ಟು ಜನ ಗ್ರಾಮೀಣ ಪ್ರದೇಶದಲ್ಲಿ ವಾಸವಾಗ್ತಾ ಇದ್ದಾರೆ, ಗ್ರಾಮೀಣ ಪ್ರದೇಶದಲ್ಲಿ ವಾಸವಾಗ್ತಾ ಇರತಕ್ಕಂಥ ಜನರಲ್ಲಿ ಮುಖ್ಯವಾಗಿ ಪ್ರಾಥಮಿಕ ವಲಯ, ಕೃಷಿ ವಲಯದಲ್ಲಿ ಎಷ್ಟು ಜನ ತೊಡಗಿಸ್ಕೊಂಡಿದ್ದಾರೆ, ಕರ್ನಾಟಕದಲ್ಲಿರುವ ಗ್ರಾಮ ಪಂಚಾಯಿತಿಗಳು, ತಾಲೂಕ್ ಪಂಚಾಯಿತಿಗಳು ಮತ್ತು ಜಿಲ್ಲಾ ಪಂಚಾಯಿತಿಗಳ ಸಂಖ್ಯೆ ಎಷ್ಟು, ಈ ರೀತಿಯಾದಂತಹ ಕೆಲವೊಂದು ಅಂಕಿಅಂಶಗಳು, ಜೊತೆಗೆ ಗ್ರಾಮೀಣ ಅಭಿವೃದ್ಧಿಯ ಅರ್ಥ, ಅಧಿಕಾರ ವಿಕೇಂದ್ರೀಕರಣದ ಅರ್ಥ ಗ್ರಾಮೀಣ ಅಭಿವೃದ್ಧಿಗೆ ಬೇಕಾಗಿರ್ತಕ್ಕಂಥ ಕೆಲವೊಂದು ಚಟುವಟಿಕೆಗಳು, ಗ್ರಾಮೀಣ ಅಭಿವೃದ್ಧಿಯಲ್ಲಿ ಈ ಒಂದು ಪಂಚಾಯತ್ ರಾಜ್ ವ್ಯವಸ್ಥೆಯ ಪಾತ್ರ ಮತ್ತು ಗ್ರಾಮೀಣ ಅಭಿವೃದ್ಧಿಯಲ್ಲಿ ಮಹಿಳೆಯರ ಪಾತ್ರ, ಈ ಒಂದು ವಿಷಯಗಳ ಬಗ್ಗೆ ನಾವು ಮುಖ್ಯವಾಗಿ ಈ ಅಧ್ಯಾಯದಲ್ಲಿ ತಿಳ್ಕೊಳ್ತಾ ಹೋಗ್ತೀವಿ. ಈಗ ಈ ಒಂದು ಅಧ್ಯಾಯಕ್ಕೆ ಸಂಬಂಧಿಸಿದಂತೆ ಒಂದು ಸಣ್ಣ ಪೀಠಿಕೆ. ಸೊ ನಾವು ಲೆಟ್ಸ್ ಟ್ರೈ ಟು ಅಂಡರ್ಸ್ಟ್ಯಾಂಡ್ a brief introduction about rural development. Being a citizen of a rural area, I feel very proud to explain and teach and learn about this unit, because since I am from a rural background, I feel proud to teach this lesson, and I am very much curious to know about our rural areas concerns. ಈ ಒಂದು ಗ್ರಾಮೀಣ ಭಾಗದ ಒಂದು ಅಭ್ಯರ್ಥಿಯಾಗಿ ಈ ಗ್ರಾಮೀಣ ಪ್ರದೇಶಗಳಿಗೆ ಸಂಬಂಧಿಸಿರ್ತಕ್ಕಂಥ ಒಂದು ಮಾಹಿತಿಯನ್ನು ತಮ್ಮ ಜೊತೆಗೆ ಹಂಚಿಕೊಳ್ಳಲಿಕ್ಕೆ, ತಮಗೆ ಇದರ ಬಗ್ಗೆ ತಿಳಿಸ್ಕೊಡೋದಕ್ಕೆ ನನಗೆ ತುಂಬ ಹೆಮ್ಮೆ ಅನ್ನಿಸ್ತದೆ. ಯಾಕಂತಂದರೆ ನಾನು ಕೂಡ ಒಬ್ಬ ಗ್ರಾಮೀಣ ಅಭ್ಯರ್ಥಿಯಾಗಿರೋದ್ರಿಂದ ಪರೀಕ್ಷಾ ದೃಷ್ಟಿಯಿಂದ ಅಷ್ಟೇ ಅಲ್ಲದೆ ಕೂಡ ಇದು ನಮಗೆ ಗ್ರಾಮೀಣ ಅಭ್ಯರ್ಥಿಗಳಾಗಿ ಇದರ ಬಗ್ಗೆ ನಮಗೆ ಒಂದು ಕನಿಷ್ಠವಾದಂತಹ ಒಂದು ಅರಿವು ಮತ್ತು ಜ್ಞಾನ ಬೇಕಾಗ್ತದೆ. ಆ ದೃಷ್ಟಿಯಿಂದ ಕೂಡ ಈ ಅಧ್ಯಾಯ ಅತಿ ಮುಖ್ಯವಾಗಿರ್ತಕ್ಕಂಥ ಒಂದು ಅಧ್ಯಾಯ ಆಗಿರ್ತದೆ. ಓಕೆ, ಈ ಪದಗಳ ಜೊತೆಗೆ ಈ ವಾಕ್ಯಗಳೊಂದಿಗೆ ನಾವು ಮುಂದುವರಿಯೋಣ. ದಿ ಫಾದರ್ ಆಫ್ ಅವರ್ ಕಂಟ್ರಿ Mahatma Gandhiji. Father of our country, Mahatma Gandhiji said that development of its villages is the true development of India. Let me repeat the definition again. Mahatma Gandhi said that development of its villages is the true development of India. Why Mahatma Gandhiji has said that? In India, 60% of the people's occupation is agriculture, and according to 2011 census, about 68.84% of the population live in rural areas or villages. Hence, India is called as a land of villages. ಮಹಾತ್ಮ ಗಾಂಧೀಜಿಯವರು, ನಮ್ಮ ರಾಷ್ಟ್ರಪಿತ ಮಹಾತ್ಮ ಗಾಂಧೀಜಿಯವರು ಒಂದು ಹೇಳಿಕೆ ನೀಡ್ತಾರೆ. ಏನಂತಂದರೆ, ನಮ್ಮ ಭಾರತದ ನಿಜವಾದ ಅಭಿವೃದ್ಧಿ ಎಂದರೆ, ಭಾರತದ ಒಂದು ನೈಜ ಅಭಿವೃದ್ಧಿ ಅಂತಂದರೆ ಅದು ಗ್ರಾಮಗಳ ಅಭಿವೃದ್ಧಿ ಅಂತ ಹೇಳ್ತಾರೆ. ಯಾಕಂತಂದರೆ ಭಾರತ ದೇಶದಲ್ಲಿ 60%ಗಿಂತ ಹೆಚ್ಚು ಜನ ಕೃಷಿಯನ್ನೇ ಆಧರಿಸಿದ್ದಾರೆ, ಮತ್ತು 2011ರ ಜನಗಣತಿಯ ಪ್ರಕಾರ 68.84% ಶೇಕಡಾವಾರು ಜನ ಈ ಒಂದು ಗ್ರಾಮೀಣ ಪ್ರದೇಶಗಳಲ್ಲೇ ವಾಸವಾಗಿದ್ದಾರೆ. ಭಾರತ ದೇಶವನ್ನು ಹಳ್ಳಿಗಳ ದೇಶ, ಗ್ರಾಮಗಳ ನಾಡು, ಗ್ರಾಮಗಳ ದೇಶ ಅಂತ ಕೂಡ ನಾವು ಕರಿತೀವಿ. ಸೊ ಈ ಉದ್ದೇಶದಿಂದನೇ ಮಹಾತ್ಮ ಗಾಂಧೀಜಿಯವರು ಹೇಳಿರಬಹುದು ಈ ಹೇಳಿಕೆಯನ್ನು, ಡೆವಲಪ್ಮೆಂಟ್ ಆಫ್ ಇಟ್ಸ್ ವಿಲೇಜಸ್ ಈಸ್ ದಿ ಟ್ರೂ ಡೆವಲಪ್ಮೆಂಟ್ ಆಫ್ ಇಂಡಿಯಾ. ಭಾರತದ ನಿಜವಾದ ಅಭಿವೃದ್ಧಿ ಅಂತಂದರೆ ಗ್ರಾಮಗಳ ಒಂದು ಅಭಿವೃದ್ಧಿ ಅಂತ ಹೇಳಿರೋದು. ಈ ಒಂದು we have received independence long back. We have completed not closely more than 70 years or so, but still villages or rural areas are still not developed, underdeveloped. They are suppressed. They remained they have not received many facilities like urban areas, deprived from various services, and the worry factor is that out of 3 families, 1/3 of rural population lives in utter poverty. They are below poverty line, BPL line. 1/3 of population of rural villages are living below poverty line. Many programs, many plans have been enacted, implemented by the state and central governments, but however the conditions of the rural areas remain not developed. ಈ ಗ್ರಾಮೀಣ ಭಾಗದಲ್ಲಿ ಇರ್ತಕ್ಕಂತಹ 1/3 ಜನ ಕಡು ಬಡತನದಲ್ಲಿದ್ದಾರೆ. ಈ ನಮಗೆ ಸುಮಾರು 70 ವರ್ಷದಷ್ಟು ಸ್ವಾತಂತ್ರ್ಯ ಒಂದು ಸಮಯ ಆಗಿದ್ರೂ ಕೂಡ 1/3 ಜನ ಅಭಿವೃದ್ಧಿ ಅನ್ನೋದು ಸಾಧಿಸಿಲ್ಲ ಈ ಗ್ರಾಮೀಣ ಪ್ರದೇಶಗಳಲ್ಲಿ. ಕೇಂದ್ರ ಮತ್ತು ರಾಜ್ಯ ಸರ್ಕಾರಗಳು ಹಲವಾರು ಕಾರ್ಯಕ್ರಮಗಳನ್ನು ಜಾರಿಗೆ ತಂದಿದ್ರೂ ಕೂಡ ಯಾವುದೇ ರೀತಿಯಾದಂತಹ ಅಭಿವೃದ್ಧಿ ಅನ್ನೋದು ಕಂಡು ಬಂದಿಲ್ಲ. ಎಲ್ಲ ಕಾರ್ಯಕ್ರಮಗಳು ಕೂಡ ಸಾಕಷ್ಟು ಮಟ್ಟಿನ ಪ್ರಗತಿಯನ್ನು ಸಾಧಿಸಿಲ್ಲ ಅಂತ ನಾವು ಹೇಳಬಹುದಾಗಿರ್ತದೆ. Not only that, the central government and state governments has taken up many development strategies which will focus on the promotion of industrial and urban development. State and central governments have enacted and implemented many programs which promotes industrial and urban development. Due to this urban development concentrated activities, the rural industries which were already declining has faced many problems. Not only that, they also need to face the tough competition from the urban industries. The urban industries are well developed and they have a huge profit, as well as they in the amount of capital investment, it is very very huge. All the urban industries are very huge and they have they are like monstrous, but village industries are very small. They are small scale industries, cottage industries. They are unable to face the competition from the urban industries which developed by the governments. And one more thing, most of the village people are working in agriculture sector, which is non-remunerative, and the employment is also very irregular. Only in a given year, like max to max 5 to 6 months work will be there, and 5 to 6 months rural people has to remain unemployed. That is the one more thing. And the government also brought up LPG policies after 1991 onwards. LPG means liberalization, privatization and globalization. These policies also had given so many bad impacts on the rural life of India. One is the agriculture is being non-remunerative and employment is irregular, and it is totally depends on the rain. Irrigation facilities are not available in our country properly. Due to all these things, the people who are in the rural areas started migrating towards urban areas. Migration is taking place. People are leaving the rural areas and reaching the cities. This is the situation. Then along with these things, the poverty started increasing among the rural area people. They are migrating, and another side the poverty is increasing like anything. As I already mentioned, more than 60% of the people work in the agriculture sector, but the contribution of this primary sector agriculture to the national income is very very low. ಆತ್ಮೀಯ ವಿದ್ಯಾರ್ಥಿ ಮಿತ್ರರೇ, ತಾವು ಗಮನವಿಟ್ಟು ಕೇಳಿಸ್ಕೋಬೇಕು. ಇದು ಅತಿ ಮುಖ್ಯವಾದಂತಹ ವಿಷಯ. ನಮಗೆ ಸ್ವಾತಂತ್ರ್ಯ ಬಂದ ಮೇಲೆ ಕೇಂದ್ರ ಮತ್ತು ರಾಜ್ಯ ಸರ್ಕಾರಗಳು ಕೈಗಾರಿಕೆಗಳನ್ನು ಮತ್ತು ನಗರದ ಅಭಿವೃದ್ಧಿಯನ್ನು ಗಮನದಲ್ಲಿಟ್ಟುಕೊಂಡು ಹಲವಾರು ಕಾರ್ಯಕ್ರಮಗಳನ್ನು ಜಾರಿಗೆ ತರ್ತಾರೆ. ಈ ಕಾರ್ಯಕ್ರಮಗಳಿಂದ ಏನಾಗ್ತದೆ ಅಂತಂದರೆ, ಈಗಾಗಲೇ ಏನು ಅಭಿವೃದ್ಧಿ ಕುಂಠಿತ ಕಂಡಿರ್ತಕ್ಕಂತಹ ಗ್ರಾಮೀಣ ಪ್ರದೇಶದಲ್ಲಿರ್ತಕ್ಕಂಥ ಒಂದು ಸಣ್ಣ ಪುಟ್ಟ ಕೈಗಾರಿಕೆಗಳು ನಗರ ಪ್ರದೇಶದಲ್ಲಿರ್ತಕ್ಕಂಥ ದೊಡ್ಡ ಕೈಗಾರಿಕೆಗಳ ಜೊತೆ ಅವು ಪೈಪೋಟಿಗೆ ಇಳಿಯಬೇಕಾಗ್ತದೆ. ಈ ಪೈಪೋಟಿಯಿಂದ ಅಷ್ಟೇ ಅಲ್ಲದೆ ಕೃಷಿಯಿಂದ ನಿಯಮಿತವಾದಂತಹ ಆದಾಯವನ್ನೋದು ಬರೋದಿಲ್ಲ. ಅದೇ ರೀತಿಯಾಗಿ ವರ್ಷ ಪೂರ್ತಿ ಕೂಡ ಇದರಲ್ಲಿ ಉದ್ಯೋಗ ಅನ್ನೋದು ಸಿಗೋದಿಲ್ಲ. ಈ ಎಲ್ಲ ಕಾರಣಗಳಿಂದ ಗ್ರಾಮೀಣ ಪ್ರದೇಶಗಳಲ್ಲಿರ್ತಕ್ಕಂಥ ಜನ ನಗರ ಪ್ರದೇಶಗಳಿಗೆ ವಲಸೆ ಹೋಗ್ತಾ ಬಂದರು. ಅದೇ ರೀತಿಯಾಗಿ 1991 ನಂತರ ದೇಶದ ಮಟ್ಟದಲ್ಲಿ ತಂದಂತಹ ಏನು ಉದಾರೀಕರಣ, ಜಾಗತೀಕರಣ ಮತ್ತು ಖಾಸಗೀಕರಣದಂತಹ ಒಂದು ಕಾರ್ಯಕ್ರಮಗಳು ಕೂಡ ಹಳ್ಳಿ ಜೀವನಗಳ ಮೇಲೆ ಸುಮಾರು ರೀತಿಯಾದಂತಹ ಪ್ರಭಾವವನ್ನು ಬೀರ್ತಾ ಬಂದವು. ಇದಲ್ಲದೆ ಮುಖ್ಯವಾಗಿ ಗ್ರಾಮೀಣ ಪ್ರದೇಶದಲ್ಲಿ ಬಡತನ ಅನ್ನೋದು ಏರಿಕೆ ಆಗ್ತಾನೆ ಹೋಗ್ತಾ ಇದೆ, ಬೆಳವಣಿಗೆ ಆಗ್ತಾ ಹೋಗ್ತು. ಗ್ರಾಮೀಣ ಭಾಗದಲ್ಲಿರ್ತಕ್ಕಂಥ 60ಕ್ಕಿಂತ ಹೆಚ್ಚು ಶೇಕಡಾವಾರು ಜನ, ಈಗಾಗಲೇ ತಿಳಿಸಿದಂತೆ 60ಕ್ಕಿಂತ ಹೆಚ್ಚು ಶೇಕಡಾವಾರು ಜನ ಈ ಒಂದು ಪ್ರಾಥಮಿಕ ವಲಯ ಅಥವಾ ಕೃಷಿ ವಲಯದಲ್ಲಿ ಕೆಲಸ ಮಾಡ್ತಾ ಇದ್ರೂ ಕೂಡ ಕೃಷಿ ವಲಯವು ರಾಷ್ಟ್ರೀಯ ಆದಾಯಕ್ಕೆ ನೀಡತಕ್ಕಂತಹ ಒಂದು ಕೊಡುಗೆ ತುಂಬ ಕಡಿಮೆ ಆಗಿದೆ. ಈ ಎಲ್ಲ ಕಾರಣಗಳಿಂದಾಗಿ ಏನು ಗ್ರಾಮೀಣ ಪ್ರದೇಶಗಳು ಮತ್ತು ಏನು ನಗರಗಳ ಮಧ್ಯೆ ಒಂದು ಅಸಮತೋಲನ ಅನ್ನೋದು ಪ್ರಾರಂಭವಾಗ್ತದೆ. ಈ ಅಸಮತೋಲನವನ್ನು ಹೋಗಲಾಡಿಸಲಿಕ್ಕೋಸ್ಕರ ಗ್ರಾಮೀಣ ಮತ್ತು ನಗರ ಪ್ರದೇಶಗಳ ನಡುವೆ ಉಂಟಾಗಿರ್ತಕ್ಕಂಥ ಈ ಒಂದು ಅಸಮತೋಲನವನ್ನು ಹೋಗಲಾಡಿಕೋಸ್ಕರ ಸರ್ಕಾರ ತಂದಿರುವಂತಹ ಹಲವಾರು ಕಾರ್ಯಕ್ರಮಗಳ ಏನೇನಿದ್ದಾವೆ ಅವುಗಳ ಬಗ್ಗೆ ನಾವು ಈ ಅಧ್ಯಾಯದಲ್ಲಿ ಅಧ್ಯಯನ ಮಾಡಲಿದ್ದೇವೆ. As I already mentioned, due to these various government policies and competition from urban areas and due to increase of the poverty in rural areas, there is a gap between rural and urban areas, and the gap is keep on widening, due to which the government has decided to overcome or remove this imbalance between rural and urban areas. It started to implement enact various programs in order to develop rural areas. Government has enacted various programs. Those programs and those activities we will be studying in this lesson. I hope you are clear about the introduction. I will ask you 3 questions. I request you to pause the video and try to answer the questions. The first question is, according to 2011 census, dash of the population lived in villages. How much percentage of the population lives in villages according to 2011 census? Sari uttara. Your answer is absolutely correct. It is 68.84%. Then next question. Development of its villages is the true development of India. Who said this statement? Yes, you are absolutely right. The correct answer, father of our nation, Mahatma Gandhi ji said this statement. And how much percentage of the people work in primary sector in India? How much percentage of people work in the primary sector of India? Yes, the correct answer to this question is 60%. Whatever answer you are saying is absolutely correct. What is the major objective of the rural development programs? Yes, you are right. In order to overcome, in order to eradicate the imbalance between rural and urban areas, the rural development becomes very, very important. Okay, let's move on. Now let's try to understand 1 second. See, these are all the important learnings which we will be learning from this unit. Meaning and significance of rural development, rural development and decentralization, rural development and Panchayat Raj institutions, rural development and women, as I already mentioned. Now let us understand the first point, meaning and significance of rural development. Meaning and significance of rural development. See, rural development is a process. Rural development is a process of economic and social upliftment of rural areas. This is a process which focus on economic and social upliftment of rural people, rural areas. We can also call it it is a overall development of rural areas to improve the quality of life of rural people. This is a process, a overall process, overall development of quality of life of the people who are living in rural areas. And we can also say one more way, it is an integrated process which includes social, political, economical and spiritual development of the poorer section of the society. Let me repeat this last definition, very interesting and important one. Rural development is an integrated process which includes economical, social, political and spiritual development of the poorer section of the rural society. I hope you understood the definition. Rural development is a process. It's try to uplift the economic and social condition of rural areas. We can also say it is a overall development of rural areas to improve the quality of the life of the rural people. And the another sentence which I told you, definition which I told you is it is an integrated process that includes economical, political, social and spiritual development of the lower sections or poorer sections of the rural society. Let us see the definition in the screen, what it says actually. Yeah, here is the definition. Let me read out for you. Rural development refers to a process of economic and social upliftment of rural areas. It may be defined as overall development of rural areas to improve the quality of life of rural people. It is an integrated process which includes social, economic, political and spiritual development of the poorer sections of the rural society. ನಿಮಗೆ ಈ ಒಂದು ಅರ್ಥವನ್ನು ಅರ್ಥೈಸಲಿಕ್ಕೆ ಕನ್ನಡದಲ್ಲಿ ಹೇಳಲಿಕ್ಕೆ ಒಂದು ಪ್ರಯತ್ನ ಪಡ್ತೀನಿ. ಗ್ರಾಮೀಣ ಅಭಿವೃದ್ಧಿ ಅಂತಂದ್ರೆ ಗ್ರಾಮಗಳ ಆರ್ಥಿಕ ಮತ್ತು ಸಾಮಾಜಿಕ ಅಭಿವೃದ್ಧಿ ಅಥವಾ ಉನ್ನತಿ ಸಾಧಿಸತಕ್ಕಂತಹ ಒಂದು ಪ್ರಕ್ರಿಯೆ. ಗ್ರಾಮಗಳ ಆರ್ಥಿಕ ಮತ್ತು ಸಾಮಾಜಿಕ ಏಳಿಗೆ, ಉನ್ನತಿ ಅಥವಾ ಅಭಿವೃದ್ಧಿಯನ್ನು ಸಾಧಿಸತಕ್ಕಂಥ ಒಂದು ಪ್ರಕ್ರಿಯೆ ಅಂತ ನಾವು ಕರೀಬಹುದು. ಅದೇ ರೀತಿಯಾಗಿ ಜನರ ಒಂದು ಜೀವನದ ಗುಣಮಟ್ಟವನ್ನ, ಗ್ರಾಮೀಣ ಪ್ರದೇಶದಲ್ಲಿರ್ತಕ್ಕಂತಹ ಜನರ ಒಂದು ಜೀವನದ ಗುಣಮಟ್ಟವನ್ನು ಉತ್ತಮಪಡಿಸಲಿಕ್ಕೆ ಕೈಗೊಳ್ಳತಕ್ಕಂಥ ಒಂದು ಪ್ರಕ್ರಿಯೆಗೆ ಕೂಡ ನಾವು ಗ್ರಾಮೀಣ ಅಭಿವೃದ್ಧಿ ಅಂತ ಕರೀಬಹುದು. ಇನ್ನ ಒಂದು ವ್ಯಾಖ್ಯಾನವನ್ನ ಕೊಟ್ಟಿದ್ದಾರೆ ಇಲ್ಲಿ. ಇದು ಒಂದು ಸಂಪೂರ್ಣವಾದಂತಹ ಒಂದು ಪ್ರಕ್ರಿಯೆ. ಈ ಪ್ರಕ್ರಿಯೆಯಲ್ಲಿ ಏನು ಗ್ರಾಮೀಣದಲ್ಲಿ ಅತ್ಯಂತ ಹಿಂದುಳಿದಿರತಕ್ಕಂತಹ ಜನ ಏನಿದ್ದಾರೆ, ಬಡ ಜನರು ಏನಿದ್ದಾರೆ, ಆ ಬಡ ಜನರ ಸಾಮಾಜಿಕ, ಆರ್ಥಿಕ, ರಾಜಕೀಯ ಮತ್ತು ಆಧ್ಯಾತ್ಮಿಕ ಒಂದು ಮುನ್ನಡೆಯನ್ನು ಸಾಧಿಸತಕ್ಕಂತಹ ಒಂದು ಪ್ರಕ್ರಿಯೆ, ಸಂಪೂರ್ಣವಾದ ಒಂದು ಪ್ರಕ್ರಿಯೆ. ಗ್ರಾಮೀಣ ಪ್ರದೇಶದಲ್ಲಿರುವ ಬಡ ಜನರ ಆರ್ಥಿಕ, ಸಾಮಾಜಿಕ, ರಾಜಕೀಯ ಮತ್ತು ಆಧ್ಯಾತ್ಮಿಕ ಅಭಿವೃದ್ಧಿಯನ್ನು ಸಾಧಿಸತಕ್ಕಂಥ ಒಂದು ಸಮಗ್ರವಾದ ಪ್ರಕ್ರಿಯೆಗೆ ಗ್ರಾಮೀಣ ಅಭಿವೃದ್ಧಿ ಅಂತ ಕರೀತಾರೆ. ತಮಗೆ ಸ್ಪಷ್ಟತೆ ಸಿಕ್ತು ಅಂತ ಅನ್ಸುತ್ತೆ. ಐ ಹೋಪ್ ಯು ಆರ್ ಕ್ಲಿಯರ್ ಅಬೌಟ್ ದಿಸ್ definition. Let's move on. See, which are the essential activities which are part of this rural development. ಈ ಒಂದು ಗ್ರಾಮೀಣ ಅಭಿವೃದ್ಧಿಯಲ್ಲಿ ಏನೇನು ಚಟುವಟಿಕೆಗಳು ಬರ್ತವೆ. ಓಕೆ, so we will try to understand the activities that are essential for the rural development. Activities that are essential for rural development. Important. This is for 2 mark questions. 2 mark question. This is very very important. As I already mentioned in other class, the code word for this one is HISDL. HISDL. If you give a rural guy driving license, it becomes his development. That's how I remember this activities. You can also use this. Here H stands for development of human resources. Human resource development you can write, or development of human resource. H. I stands for infrastructure development. Infrastructures like we need health facilities, electricity facilities, irrigation facilities, transportation and communication, credit and marketing. All these things are called as infrastructure. I stands for infrastructure development. Yes stands for specific programs to alleviate poverty. Specific programs to alleviate poverty. Then D stands for development of the productive resources. Development of the productive resources. L stands for land reforms. HISDL is the memory trick or code to remember the activities essential for rural development. First one is development of human resources or human resources development. Human resources development includes two aspects. It is subdivision under human resource development. First one is related to literacy. Second one is related to health. So literacy means especially females literacy, education and skill development. Female literacy, education and skill development. Health is related to two things which look after sanitization and sanitation and public health. So this is related to human resource development. Second point is infrastructure development, as I already mentioned, which includes basic facilities like health, electricity, irrigation, marketing, credit system, transportation and communication. All these things will falls under infrastructure development. And S stands for specific programs to eradicate, remove or alleviate poverty. Then the third one is related to fourth one is related to development of productive resources. Development of productive resources. Then the last one is land reforms. Land reforms are very very important for rural development, because agriculture can be done with the help of land. Without land, no one can do the agriculture. There are some techniques recently, but without land it is highly difficult to do the agriculture. Hence these land reforms are plays very important role, essential role in the rural development. Let us see these points on the screen. Or there it is, right? Yeah. Okay. ಇದನ್ನು ನಾನು ಒಂದ್ಸಲ ಕನ್ನಡದಲ್ಲಿ ಹೇಳ್ಬಿಡ್ತೀನಿ. ಗ್ರಾಮೀಣ ಅಭಿವೃದ್ಧಿಯನ್ನು ಸಾಧನೆ ಮಾಡಬೇಕಾದ್ರೆ ಏನೇನು ಅವಶ್ಯಕತೆಗಳು ಬೇಕಾಗ್ತವೆ, ಚಟುವಟಿಕೆಗಳು ಏನೇನು ಬೇಕು, ಅತಿ ಮುಖ್ಯವಾದಂತಹ ಕ್ರಮಗಳೇನು ಅಂತ. ಈ ಗ್ರಾಮೀಣ ಅಭಿವೃದ್ಧಿಯನ್ನು ಸಾಧಿಸಬೇಕಾದ್ರೆ ಏನೇನು ಕ್ರಮಗಳನ್ನು ಕೈಗೊಳ್ಳಬೇಕು ಅಂತ, ಅದರಲ್ಲಿ ನಾನು ಇಸ್ ಡೆವಲಪ್ಮೆಂಟ್ ಅಂತ ಇಂಗ್ಲೀಷಲ್ಲಿ ಒಂದು ಕೋಡ್ ವರ್ಡ್ ಹೇಳಿದೆ. ಹ್ಯೂಮನ್ ರಿಸೋರ್ಸ್ ಡೆವಲಪ್ಮೆಂಟ್ ಅಂದರೆ ಮಾನವ ಸಂಪನ್ಮೂಲ ಅಭಿವೃದ್ಧಿ. ಮಾನವರು ಜನಸಂಖ್ಯೆ ಮಾನವ ಅನ್ನೋನು ಒಂದು ಸಂಪನ್ಮೂಲ ಇದ್ದಂಗೆ ಒಂದು ದೇಶದಲ್ಲಿ. ಅವನು ಒಳ್ಳೆ ರೀತಿಯಾದ ಸಂಪನ್ಮೂಲ ಆಗ್ಬೇಕಂತಂದ್ರೆ ಅವನು ಸಾಕ್ಷರತೆ ಅಥವಾ ವಿದ್ಯಾಭ್ಯಾಸವನ್ನು ಪಡ್ಕೋಬೇಕು. ಅದರಲ್ಲೂ ಮುಖ್ಯವಾಗಿ ಮಹಿಳಾ ಸಾಕ್ಷರತೆ ಅನ್ನೋದು, ಮತ್ತೆ ಮಹಿಳೆಗೆ ಶಿಕ್ಷಣ ಅನ್ನೋದು, ಮಹಿಳೆಯರ ಕೌಶಲ್ಯ ಅಭಿವೃದ್ಧಿ ಅನ್ನೋದು ಅತಿ ಮುಖ್ಯ. ಇನ್ನು ಎರಡನೇದಾಗಿ ಬಂದ್ಬಿಟ್ಟು ಆರೋಗ್ಯ. ಯಾವ್ಯಾವ ಆರೋಗ್ಯ? ನೈರ್ಮಲ್ಯ ಮತ್ತು ಸಾರ್ವಜನಿಕ ಆರೋಗ್ಯ. ಇವೆರಡು ಕೂಡ ಮಾನವ ಸಂಪನ್ಮೂಲ ಅಭಿವೃದ್ಧಿಯಲ್ಲಿ ನಾವು ತಿಳ್ಕೊಬೇಕಾಗ್ತದೆ. ನೆಕ್ಸ್ಟ್ ಬಂದ್ಬಿಟ್ಟು ಹೈ ಅಂತ ಹೇಳಿದೆ. ಹೈ ಅಂದ್ರೆ ಇನ್ಫ್ರಾಸ್ಟ್ರಕ್ಚರ್ ಡೆವಲಪ್ಮೆಂಟ್. ಏನು ಇನ್ಫ್ರಾಸ್ಟ್ರಕ್ಚರ್ ಡೆವಲಪ್ಮೆಂಟ್ ಅಂತಂದ್ರೆ ಮೂಲಭೂತ ಸೌಕರ್ಯಗಳು, ಗ್ರಾಮೀಣ ಪ್ರದೇಶದಲ್ಲಿ ಬೇಕಾಗಿರ್ತಕ್ಕಂಥ ಏನು ವಿದ್ಯುತ್ ಶಕ್ತಿ ಆಗಿರ್ಬೋದು, ಹಣಕಾಸು ಆಗಿರ್ಬೋದು, ನೀರಾವರಿ ಸೌಲಭ್ಯ ಆಗಿರ್ಬೋದು, ಸಾರಿಗೆ ಮತ್ತು ಸಂಪರ್ಕ ಆಗಿರ್ಬೋದು, ಈ ಎಲ್ಲಗಳನ್ನು ಒದಗಿಸಿಕೊಡುವುದು ಕೂಡ ಒಂದು ಅತಿ ಮುಖ್ಯವಾದಂತಹ ಒಂದು ಕಾರ್ಯಕ್ರಮ ಆಗಿರ್ತದೆ. ನೆಕ್ಸ್ಟ್ ಎಸ್ ಏನು ಸ್ಪೆಸಿಫಿಕ್ ಪ್ರೋಗ್ರಾಮ್ಸ್ ಅಂತ, ಸ್ಪೆಸಿಫಿಕ್ ಪ್ರೋಗ್ರಾಮ್ಸ್ ಟು ಎರಾಡಿಕೇಟ್ ಪಾವರ್ಟಿ ಆರ್ ಎಲಿವೇಶನ್ ಆಫ್ ಪಾವರ್ಟಿ, ಬಡತನವನ್ನು ನಿರ್ಮೂಲನೆ ಮಾಡಲಿಕ್ಕೆ ಬೇಕಾಗಿರ್ತಕ್ಕಂಥ ಯೋಜನೆಗಳು. ನೆಕ್ಸ್ಟ್ ಡಿ ಸ್ಟ್ಯಾಂಡ್ಸ್ ಫಾರ್ ಏನು ಇಲ್ಲಿ ಸ್ಥಳೀಯ ಉತ್ಪಾದಕ ಸಂಪನ್ಮೂಲಗಳ ಅಭಿವೃದ್ಧಿ, ಏನು ಲೋಕಲ್ ಅಲ್ಲಿ ಸಿಗ್ತಕ್ಕಂತಹ ಉತ್ಪಾದಕ ಸಂಪನ್ಮೂಲಗಳನ್ನು ಅಭಿವೃದ್ಧಿ ಮಾಡ್ತಕ್ಕಂಥದ್ದು. ಈಗ ಹಿಂದೆ ಚರ್ಚೆ ಮಾಡಿದ್ದು ನಾವು ಮಾನವ ಸಂಪನ್ಮೂಲಗಳು, ಇದು ಬಂದ್ಬಿಟ್ಟು ಉತ್ಪಾದಕ ಸಂಪನ್ಮೂಲಗಳನ್ನು ಅಭಿವೃದ್ಧಿ ಮಾಡ್ತಕ್ಕಂಥದ್ದು. ಕೊನೆಯದಾಗಿ ಭೂ ಸುಧಾರಣೆಗಳು. ತಮಗೆ ಇವುಗಳ ಬಗ್ಗೆ ಸ್ಪಷ್ಟತೆ ಸಿಕ್ತು ಅಂತ ಅನ್ಸುತ್ತೆ. ಓಕೆ, this is very very important for 2 mark question for the examination purpose. Kindly remember this code word HISDL is DL. If you give him DL, it will be developed. Okay, let's move on. Let's move on with the next one. Next one is very very important. It is related to importance of rural development. Why the rural development is important? ಏನು ಗ್ರಾಮೀಣ ಅಭಿವೃದ್ಧಿಯ ಒಂದು ಮಹತ್ವ, ಗ್ರಾಮೀಣ ಅಭಿವೃದ್ಧಿ ಅನ್ನೋದು ಯಾಕೆ ಆಗಬೇಕು ಅಂತ. ಓಕೆ, ಸೊ ಲೆಟ್ ಅಸ್ ಟ್ರೈ ಟು ಅಂಡರ್ಸ್ಟ್ಯಾಂಡ್. ಸಿ ದಿ ಓವರ್ ಡೆವಲಪ್ಮೆಂಟ್ ಆಫ್ ದಿ ಕಂಟ್ರಿ ಇನ್ಕ್ಲೂಡ್ಸ್ agriculture development and non-agricultural development, because in agriculture sector we have 60% of the people occupied, and non-agriculture sector we have 40% of the people. Both agricultural 60% and non-agricultural 40%. All these 100% people come together and develop automatically overall development of the country takes place. Okay, so the rural importance of the rural development includes agricultural and non-agricultural development, which includes the agricultural and non-agricultural development contributes not only to the rural area but also to the overall development of the country. ಏನು ಈ ಒಂದು ಮೊದಲನೇ ಪಾಯಿಂಟ್ ಅಲ್ಲಿ ನಾನು ಹೇಳಿದೆ, ದೇಶದ ಒಟ್ಟಾರೆ ಅಭಿವೃದ್ಧಿ ಅಂತಂದ್ರೆ ಇದರಲ್ಲಿ ಕೃಷಿನ ಅಭಿವೃದ್ಧಿ ಆಗಬೇಕು ಮತ್ತು ಕೃಷಿಯೇತರ ಚಟುವಟಿಕೆಗಳು ಕೂಡ, ವಲಯಗಳು ಕೂಡ ಅಭಿವೃದ್ಧಿ ಆಗಬೇಕು. ಯಾಕಂತಂದ್ರೆ ಕೃಷಿಯಲ್ಲಿ 60% ಜನ ತೊಡಗಿಸಿಕೊಂಡಿದ್ದಾರೆ, ಇನ್ನು ಕೃಷಿಯೇತರ ಚಟುವಟಿಕೆಗಳಲ್ಲಿ 40% ಅಷ್ಟು ಜನ ತೊಡಗಿಸಿಕೊಂಡಿದ್ದಾರೆ. ಈ 60% ಪ್ಲಸ್ 40% ಎರಡೂ ಕೂಡ ಅಭಿವೃದ್ಧಿ ಆದರೆ ರಾಷ್ಟ್ರದ ಒಟ್ಟಾರೆಯಾದಂತಹ ಒಂದು ಅಭಿವೃದ್ಧಿ ಆಗ್ತದೆ. ಓಕೆ, ಗ್ರಾಮೀಣ ಅಭಿವೃದ್ಧಿಯು ಕೃಷಿ ಮತ್ತು ಕೃಷಿಯೇತರ ವಲಯಗಳಲ್ಲಿರ್ತಕ್ಕಂಥ ಅಭಿವೃದ್ಧಿಯನ್ನು ಒಳಗೊಂಡಿರೋದ್ರಿಂದ ಈ ಎರಡು ಅಭಿವೃದ್ಧಿ ಆದರೆ ಒಟ್ಟಾರೆಯಾಗಿ ದೇಶದ ಅಭಿವೃದ್ಧಿ ಆಗ್ತದೆ ಅನ್ನೋದು ಒಂದು ಅತಿ ಮುಖ್ಯವಾದಂತಹ ಒಂದು ಅಂಶ. ನೆಕ್ಸ್ಟ್, ಲೆಟ್ ಅಸ್ ಅಂಡರ್ಸ್ಟ್ಯಾಂಡ್, ಒನ್ಸ್ ಇಫ್ ದಿ agricultural farmers improved, their poverty is removed, their income levels will go high. If they have good income means what they will do is they will purchase more products and more services. If they purchase more products, more goods and more services, which automatically generate additional employment by industrial sector. So we are buying many number of goods and services means we are indirectly and directly contributing to the development of secondary sector industries. So industries, if they are getting very good demand means they automatically expand more employment, more and more people will be employed in the employed by the industries, and they also try to expand their services in various places of the country. See, very simple. The second point is because of the increased income by the farmers or due to increase in income of the farmers, which create a demand, a great demand, high demand for the industrial goods and services or products and services, which is directly generating additional employment as well as expansion of various industries. This is the second point related to rural development importance. Then since the rural people receives very good literacy, due to that literacy their skill levels also becomes very high. When the person is educated and he has good skill set, means his productivity level will be very high. This is the third one. Then people is receiving good health facilities, good infrastructure facilities at village level, so they remain fit and energetic, they remain healthy. A healthy person who has health, very good health, is work participation, he will participate in the work very highly, so that his output from output also will be very high. This is the fourth one. Better health results in the higher work participation by the people, which result in the increased output. Then not only that, the industries which are there at village level, most of them are agro based industries, and they are small scale industries and cottage industries, which also try to gradually slowly start transforming. Because of all these things which we discussed so far related to rural development importance, they will try to reduce the migration of rural people to urban areas, which will result in the eradication of the poverty. Okay, now let us try to understand this importance of rural development in Kannada once. Then we'll also see what is there on the screen. Yes, importance of rural development. Since rural development includes agricultural and non-agricultural development, it contributes not only to rural but also to the overall development of country. Very, very important. As I already mentioned, the first point is related to overall development of the country. Rural development includes agricultural and non-agricultural development. It contributes not only to the rural but also to the overall development of the country. ಏನು ಈ ಒಂದು ಏನು ಕೃಷಿ ಮತ್ತು ಕೃಷಿಯೇತರ ವಲಯಗಳಂತ ಏನು ಹೇಳ್ತಾ ಇದ್ದೀನಿ, ಇವುಗಳ ಅಭಿವೃದ್ಧಿಯಿಂದ ದೇಶದ ಒಟ್ಟಾರೆಯಾದಂತಹ ಒಂದು ಅಭಿವೃದ್ಧಿ ಆಗ್ತದೆ. ಮತ್ತೆ increased farm incomes will create greater demand for industrial products and services, thereby generating additional employment and leading to an expansion of those sectors also. Very, very important. ಈ ವ್ಯವಸಾಯ ಅಥವಾ ಕೃಷಿಯಿಂದ ಜಾಸ್ತಿ ಇನ್ಕಮ್, ಆದಾಯ ಅನ್ನೋದು ಬಂದ್ರೆ, ಈ ಆದಾಯದಿಂದ ಏನಾಗ್ತದೆ ಅಂತಂದ್ರೆ ಕೈಗಾರಿಕೆಗಳಲ್ಲಿ ಉತ್ಪಾದನೆ ಆಗ್ತಕ್ಕಂತಹ ಸರಕು ಮತ್ತು ಸೇವೆಗಳಿಗೆ ಹೆಚ್ಚಿನ ಬೇಡಿಕೆ ಸಿಗ್ತದೆ. ಅವುಗಳಿಗೆ ಹೆಚ್ಚಿನ ಬೇಡಿಕೆ ಸಿಗೋದ್ರಿಂದ ಅವು ಏನಾಗ್ತವೆ ಅಂತಂದ್ರೆ ಹೆಚ್ಚಿನದಾಗಿ ಉದ್ಯೋಗವನ್ನು ಕೊಡ್ತವೆ. ಅಧಿಕವಾದಂತಹ ಉದ್ಯೋಗವನ್ನು ಕೊಡೋದ್ರ ಜೊತೆಗೆ ಅವು ತಮ್ಮ ಚಟುವಟಿಕೆಗಳನ್ನು ಕೂಡ ಏನ್ ಮಾಡ್ತವೆ ಅಂತಂದ್ರೆ ವಿಸ್ತರಿಸ್ಕೊಂಡು ಹೋಗ್ತವೆ. ಇದು ಎರಡನೇ ಪಾಯಿಂಟ್. ದ ಸೆಕೆಂಡರಿ sector will receive a greater demand for its services and products. Thereby they start generating additional employment and leading to an expansion of these sectors also. ಮೂರನೇ ಅತಿ ಮುಖ್ಯವಾದಂತಹ ಅಂಶ ಏನಂತಂದ್ರೆ, with increased literacy and skill development, higher productivity could be achieved. ಏನು ಈ ಒಂದು ಜನರು ಶಿಕ್ಷಣ ಮತ್ತು ಕೌಶಲ್ಯವನ್ನು ಪಡ್ಕೊಳ್ಳೋದ್ರಿಂದ ಅವರು ಹೆಚ್ಚಿನ ರೀತಿಯಾಗಿ ಶಿಕ್ಷಿತರಾಗಿದ್ದು ಅವರಲ್ಲಿ ಒಳ್ಳೆ ಕೌಶಲ್ಯ ಅನ್ನೋದು ಇದ್ರೆ ಅವರು ಹೆಚ್ಚಿನ ರೀತಿಯಾಗಿ ಉತ್ಪಾದನೆಯನ್ನ ಮಾಡ್ತಾರೆ ಅನ್ನುವಂತ ವಿಷಯ. ಮತ್ತೆ ಒಳ್ಳೆ ರೀತಿಯಾದ ಆರೋಗ್ಯದಿಂದ ಕೂಡಿರ್ತಕ್ಕಂಥ ಜನರು ಕೆಲಸದಲ್ಲಿ ಹೆಚ್ಚಿನ ರೀತಿಯಾಗಿ ಭಾಗವಹಿಸಬಹುದು. ಪೇಷಂಟ್ ತರ ಇರೋನು, ಕಾಯಿಲೆಯಿಂದ ಕೂಡಿರೋನು ಕೆಲಸ ಮಾಡಕ್ಕಾಗ್ತದ? ಕೆಲಸ ಮಾಡಕ್ಕಾಗಲ್ಲ. ಅದೇ ಆರೋಗ್ಯವಂತವಾಗಿ ದಷ್ಟಪುಷ್ಟವಾಗಿದ್ರೆ ಅವನು ಹೆಚ್ಚಿನ ರೀತಿಯಾಗಿ ಕೆಲಸ ಮಾಡಬಹುದು. ಚೆನ್ನಾಗಿ ಕೆಲಸ ಮಾಡಿದ್ರೆ ಒಳ್ಳೆ ರೀತಿಯಾದಂತಹ ಒಂದು ಆದಾಯ ಬರುತ್ತದೆ ಅನ್ನೋದು ನಾಲ್ಕನೇ ಒಂದು ಪಾಯಿಂಟ್. ನೆಕ್ಸ್ಟ್ ಐದನೇದು ಬಂದ್ಬಿಟ್ಟು, ಗ್ರಾಮೀಣ ಪ್ರದೇಶಗಳಲ್ಲಿ ಇರ್ತಕ್ಕಂತಹ ಏನು ಈ ಕೃಷಿಗೆ ಸಂಬಂಧಿಸಿದಂತಹ ಒಂದು ಕೈಗಾರಿಕೆಗಳು ಮತ್ತೆ ಗುಡಿ ಮತ್ತು ಸಣ್ಣ ಕೈಗಾರಿಕೆಗಳು ಅಭಿವೃದ್ಧಿ ಹೊಂದೋದ್ರ ಮೂಲಕ ಅವು ಗ್ರಾಮೀಣ ಪ್ರದೇಶದಲ್ಲಿ ಒಂದು ಪರಿವರ್ತನೆಯನ್ನು ಒಂದು ಕಾಣಬಹುದು. ಈ ಪರಿವರ್ತನೆಯಿಂದಾಗಿ ಈ ಗ್ರಾಮೀಣ ಜನರು ನಗರ ಪ್ರದೇಶಗಳಿಗೆ ವಲಸೆ ಹೋಗೋದನ್ನ ಕಡಿಮೆ ಮಾಡಬಹುದು ಅಂತ. ಅದೇ ರೀತಿಯಾಗಿ ಈ ಎಲ್ಲ ಒಂದು ನಡೆದ್ರೆ ಇವೆಲ್ಲ ಚಟುವಟಿಕೆಗಳು ನಡೆದ್ರೆ ಸಾಮಾನ್ಯವಾಗಿ ಬಡತನ ಅನ್ನೋದು ಕಡಿಮೆ ಆಗ್ತದೆ. ಸೊ ಇದು ಗ್ರಾಮೀಣ ಅಭಿವೃದ್ಧಿಯ ಒಂದು ಪ್ರಾಮುಖ್ಯತೆ, ಇಂಪಾರ್ಟೆನ್ಸ್ ಆಫ್ ರೂರಲ್ ಡೆವಲಪ್ಮೆಂಟ್ ಆರ್ ಸಿಗ್ನಿಫಿಕೆನ್ಸ್ ಆಫ್ ರೂರಲ್ ಡೆವಲಪ್ಮೆಂಟ್ ಅಂತ ಏನೇ ಪ್ರಶ್ನೆ ಬಂದರೂ ಕೂಡ ಈ 6 ಪಾಯಿಂಟ್ಗಳನ್ನು ತಾವು ಬರೀಬೇಕಾಗ್ತದೆ. 3 ಅಂಕಗಳ ಪ್ರಶ್ನೆ ಬರುವ ಸಾಧ್ಯತೆ ಇರುತ್ತದೆ. ಓಕೆ, I hope you are clear about this. Let's move on and try to understand the next one. The next one is very very important because it is related to decentralization concept. In more than 2 to 3 exams analytical question is asked related to this concept. 4-mark question is asked. Since it is very important, I request you to keep focused and listen to this very carefully. So first let us understand the meaning and concept of this decentralization, what it is. Decentralization is a simple concept. It is, as I already mentioned, it is a very simple concept giving administrative power and the responsibility of developing the villages to people themselves is called decentralization. Let me repeat again. Kindly remember this definition very well. Giving or providing administrative power and the responsibility of developing the village to people themselves is called decentralization. So you are giving power to a rural area person, and you are also making him responsible for the development of their own villages. They have to involve in those development activities is call it as decentralization. And we can also call it is like a process where power sharing takes place and people will start participating in decision making of the villages, development of the villages. And this process what I am speaking about is it aims about planning and development from the below. Planning and development starts from the below, for which the Mahatma Gandhiji has given a particular name, that is Grama Swaraj. I am repeating this, Grama Swaraj. Decentralization means it is a process which aims at planning and development from the below level, from the villages level, for which Gandhiji has called this process as Grama Swaraj. And the decentralization process, if takes place properly, it reduces various problems, like it gives human independence, and it also give dignity to the humans, and it upholds the human independence and dignity, and it is also reduces so many exploitations which takes place at rural areas, and it is also improves so many human values like compassion and cooperation among rural people. Dear students, now let me try to describe this concept in Kannada once for your understanding purpose. ಏನು ಗ್ರಾಮೀಣದಲ್ಲಿರ್ತಕ್ಕಂಥ ಜನರಿಗೆ ಅಧಿಕಾರವನ್ನು ಕೊಡೋದು ಮತ್ತೆ ಆ ಗ್ರಾಮಗಳ ಅಭಿವೃದ್ಧಿಯನ್ನ ಮಾಡತಕ್ಕಂಥ ಜವಾಬ್ದಾರಿ ಅವರಿಗೆ ವಹಿಸಿಕೊಡುವಂತಹ ಒಂದು ಪ್ರಕ್ರಿಯೆ. ವೆರಿ ಸಿಂಪಲ್. ಗಿವಿಂಗ್ ಅಡ್ಮಿನಿಸ್ಟ್ರೇಟಿವ್ ಪವರ್, ಅಧಿಕಾರವನ್ನು ಅವರಿಗೆ ಕೊಡಬೇಕು. ದ ರೆಸ್ಪಾನ್ಸಿಬಿಲಿಟಿ ಆಫ್ ದ ವಿಲೇಜ್ ಟು ಪೀಪಲ್ ದೆಮ್ಸೆಲ್ವ್ಸ್, ಆ ಗ್ರಾಮಗಳನ್ನು ಅಭಿವೃದ್ಧಿ ಮಾಡತಕ್ಕಂಥ ಜವಾಬ್ದಾರಿಯನ್ನು ಕೂಡ ಅವರಿಗೆ ಕೊಡ್ತಕ್ಕಂಥ ಒಂದು ಪ್ರಕ್ರಿಯೆಗೆ ನಾವೇನಂತ ಕರಿತೀವಿ? ವಿಕೇಂದ್ರೀಕರಣ, ಡಿಸೆಂಟ್ರಲೈಸೇಷನ್ ಅಂತ ಕರಿತೀವಿ. ಇದು ಒಂದು ಏನು ಪವರ್ ಶೇರಿಂಗ್ power sharing process where people participate in ಡಿಸಿಷನ್ ಮೇಕಿಂಗ್. ಇದು ಅಧಿಕಾರವನ್ನ ಹಂಚಿಕೆ ಮಾಡ್ಕೊಳ್ತಕ್ಕಂಥ ಒಂದು ಪ್ರಕ್ರಿಯೆ, ಅಧಿಕಾರವನ್ನ ಹಂಚಿಕೆ ಮಾಡ್ತಕ್ಕಂಥ ಒಂದು ಪ್ರಕ್ರಿಯೆ ಮತ್ತು ಅತಿ ಮುಖ್ಯವಾದಂತಹ ನಿರ್ಧಾರಗಳನ್ನು ತೆಗೆದುಕೊಳ್ಳುವುದರಲ್ಲಿ ಜನರೇ ಕೂಡ ಭಾಗವಹಿಸುವಂತದ್ದಾಗಬೇಕು. ಅತಿ ಮುಖ್ಯವಾದಂತಹ ನಿರ್ಧಾರಗಳನ್ನು ತೆಗೆದುಕೊಳ್ಳುವುದು ಮತ್ತು ಜನರ ಭಾಗವಹಿಸುವಿಕೆ ಅನ್ನೋದು ಆಗಬೇಕು. ಮತ್ತೆ ಅಭಿವೃದ್ಧಿ ಅಂತಕ್ಕಂಥದ್ದು ತಳಮಟ್ಟದಿಂದ ಒಂದು ಯೋಜನೆ ಮತ್ತು ಅಭಿವೃದ್ಧಿಯನ್ನ ಸಾಧಿಸ್ತಾ ಹೋಗೋದಿದೆಯಲ್ವಾ, ಇದಕ್ಕೆ ರಾಷ್ಟ್ರಪಿತ ಗಾಂಧೀಜಿಯವರು ಒಂದು ಹೆಸರು ಕೊಟ್ಟಿದ್ದಾರೆ. ಆ ಹೆಸರು ಏನಂತಂದ್ರೆ ಗ್ರಾಮ ಸ್ವರಾಜ್ಯ. ಗ್ರಾಮ ಸ್ವರಾಜ್ಯ ಅಂದ್ರೆ ತಳಮಟ್ಟದಿಂದ, ಗ್ರಾಮೀಣ ಪ್ರದೇಶಗಳಿಂದ ಏನು ಯೋಜನೆಯನ್ನ ನಿರೂಪಿಸ್ತಕ್ಕಂಥದ್ದು ಮತ್ತು ಅಭಿವೃದ್ಧಿಯ ಸಾಧನೆ ಪ್ರಕ್ರಿಯೆ ನಡೀತಕ್ಕಂಥದ್ದನ್ನ ಗ್ರಾಮ ಸ್ವರಾಜ್ಯ ಅಂತ ಕರೆದಿದ್ದಾರೆ. ಸೊ ದೇರ್ ಈಸ್ ಎ ಚಾನ್ಸಸ್ ಆಫ್ ಆಸ್ಕಿಂಗ್ ಕ್ವಶನ್ ಲೈಕ್ ದಿಸ್ ಆಲ್ಸೋ. ದಿ ಗ್ರಾಮ ಸ್ವರಾಜ್ಯ ಕಾನ್ಸೆಪ್ಟ್ ಹ್ಯಾಸ್ reduced will reduce imbalance between rural areas and urban areas. Justify. This type of question also may be asked. Kindly you need to highlight all these points if such question is asked in the examination. ತಮಗೆ ಇದು ಸ್ಪಷ್ಟತೆ ಸಿಕ್ತು ಅನಿಸ್ತದೆ. ವಿಕೇಂದ್ರೀಕರಣ ಅಂದ್ರೆ ಏನು, ಇದಕ್ಕೆ ಮಹಾತ್ಮ ಗಾಂಧೀಜಿಯವರು ಕೊಟ್ಟಿರ್ತಕ್ಕಂಥ ಒಂದು ಹೆಸರು. ಈ ವಿಕೇಂದ್ರೀಕರಣದಿಂದಾಗಿ ಹಲವಾರು ಶೋಷಣೆಗಳನ್ನೋದು ಕಡಿಮೆ ಆಗ್ತವೆ. ಮನುಷ್ಯರಿಗೆ ಸೇರಬೇಕಾಗಿರ್ತಕ್ಕಂತಹ ಒಂದು ಘನತೆ ಏನಿದೆ, ಸ್ವಾತಂತ್ರ್ಯ ಏನಿರ್ತದೆ, ಅದನ್ನೆಲ್ಲ ರಕ್ಷಣೆ ಮಾಡ್ತದೆ. ಜೊತೆಗೆ ಜನರ ಮಧ್ಯದಲ್ಲಿ ಕೆಲವೊಂದು ಮಾನವೀಯ ಮೌಲ್ಯಗಳು, ಸಹಕಾರ, ಸಹಾನುಭೂತಿ ಇವೆಲ್ಲವೂ ಕೂಡ ಬೆಳವಣಿಗೆ ಆಗ್ತವೆ ಈ ಒಂದು ವಿಕೇಂದ್ರೀಕರಣದಿಂದ ಅಂತ. ಇದ್ರ ಬಗ್ಗೆ ತಮಗೆ ಸ್ಪಷ್ಟತೆ ಸಿಕ್ತು ಅಂತ ಅನ್ಸುತ್ತೆ. ಇನ್ನು ಅತಿ ಮುಖ್ಯವಾದಂತಹ ಒಂದು ಘಟ್ಟವನ್ನು ಸೇರ್ತಾ ಇದ್ದೀವಿ ನಾವು. ವಿ ಆರ್ ರೀಚಿಂಗ್ ಟುವರ್ಡ್ಸ್ ಆನ್ ಇಂಪಾರ್ಟೆಂಟ್ ಆಸ್ಪೆಕ್ಟ್ ಆಫ್ ದಿಸ್ ಯೂನಿಟ್ ದಟ್ ಈಸ್ ರಿಲೇಟೆಡ್ ಟು ದಿ ಪಂಚಾಯತ್ ರಾಜ್ ಇನ್ಸ್ಟಿಟ್ಯೂಷನ್ಸ್ ಆರ್ ಪಂಚಾಯತ್ ರಾಜ್ system which has been enacted by Government of India in the year 1993 by an amendment called 73rd Constitutional Amendment. Let me repeat again, very very important factor it is. In the year 1993 the Government of India enacted an amendment to India's Constitution, that is a 73rd Constitutional Amendment Act. It is called as the 73rd Constitutional Amendment Act, which is brought in 1993, which is related to Panchayat Raj institutions or Panchayat Raj system, in order to establish, in order to form a uniform system of Panchayat Raj system across the country. Throughout the country, the Government of India enacted the 73rd Constitutional Amendment Act in 1993. The act which has enacted in the year 1993 that has given constitutional status to the Panchayat Raj system. Constitutional status to the Panchayat institution. Now let me ask you a question. Kindly pause the video and try to answer it in typing. Process that aims at planning and development from below is called as what by Mahatma Gandhiji? Mahatma Gandhiji what name has given to this process which aims at planning and development from below? Yes, your answer is right. The answer is Grama Swaraj. Then which act has given constitutional status to the Panchayat institutions? Yes, someone is saying right answer. It is the 73rd Constitutional Amendment Act of 1993. And so what is the objective of 73rd Constitutional Amendment Act? Yes, someone is saying right answer. This act has the objective of establishing a uniform system of Panchayat Raj institutions across the country or throughout the country. This act has brought in a three-layer or three-tier system of panchayats in our country. Three-tier system of panchayats came into existence with this act of 1993. ಓಕೆ, ಈಗ ಕನ್ನಡದಲ್ಲಿ ನಾನು ಇದನ್ನು ಹೇಳ್ತೀನಿ, ದಯವಿಟ್ಟು ಗಮನ ಬಿಟ್ಟು ಕೇಳಿಸ್ಕೋಬೇಕು. ಇದು ಅತಿ ಮುಖ್ಯವಾದಂತಹ ವಿಷಯ. ಭಾರತ ದೇಶದಲ್ಲಿ ಏನು ಈ ಒಂದು ಅಧಿಕಾರ ವಿಕೇಂದ್ರೀಕರಣ ಅಥವಾ ವಿಕೇಂದ್ರೀಕರಣವನ್ನು ಪ್ರೋತ್ಸಾಹವನ್ನು ಮಾಡೋಕ್ಕೋಸ್ಕರ ಭಾರತ ಸರ್ಕಾರವು 1993ರಲ್ಲಿ ಸಂವಿಧಾನಕ್ಕೆ 73ನೇ ತಿದ್ದುಪಡಿ ಕಾಯ್ದೆಯನ್ನು ತರ್ತದೆ. 1993ರಲ್ಲಿ ಸಂವಿಧಾನಕ್ಕೆ 73ನೇ ತಿದ್ದುಪಡಿ ಕಾಯ್ದೆಯನ್ನು ತರ್ತದೆ. ಈ 1993ರ ಸಂವಿಧಾನ ತಿದ್ದುಪಡಿ ಕಾಯ್ದೆಯ ಅತಿ ಮುಖ್ಯವಾದ ಉದ್ದೇಶ ಏನಂತಂದ್ರೆ, ದೇಶದಾದ್ಯಂತ ಏಕರೂಪವಾದಂತಹ ಪಂಚಾಯತ್ ರಾಜ್ ಸಂಸ್ಥೆಗಳನ್ನು ಸ್ಥಾಪನೆ ಮಾಡಬಹುದು, ಪಂಚಾಯತ್ ರಾಜ್ಯ ಸಂಸ್ಥೆಗಳನ್ನು ಅಸ್ತಿತ್ವಕ್ಕೆ ತರೋದಾಗಿರುತ್ತದೆ. ಸೊ ಈ ಒಂದು ಕಾಯ್ದೆಯಿಂದಾಗಿ ನಮ್ಮ ಪಂಚಾಯತ್ ರಾಜ್ಯ ವ್ಯವಸ್ಥೆಗೆ, ಪಂಚಾಯತ್ ರಾಜ್ಯ ಸಂಸ್ಥೆಗಳಿಗೆ ಸಂವಿಧಾನಾತ್ಮಕವಾದಂತಹ ಒಂದು ಸ್ಥಾನಮಾನ ದೊರೆಯಿತು. ಈ ಒಂದು ಪಂಚಾಯತ್ ರಾಜ್ ಕಾಯ್ದೆಯ ಪ್ರಕಾರ ನಮ್ಮ ದೇಶದಲ್ಲಿ 3 ಹಂತದ ಪಂಚಾಯತ್ ವ್ಯವಸ್ಥೆ ಅಸ್ತಿತ್ವಕ್ಕೆ ಬಂತು. ತಮಗೆ ಇದರ ಬಗ್ಗೆ ಸ್ಪಷ್ಟತೆ ಸಿಕ್ತು ಅಂತ ಅನಿಸ್ತದೆ. ನಾವು ವಿಲ್ ಟ್ರೈ ಟು ಅಂಡರ್ಸ್ಟ್ಯಾಂಡ್ ದಿ ಕೀ ಫೀಚರ್ಸ್ ಆಫ್ ದಿ Panchayat Raj system adopted in India according to the 73rd Constitutional Amendment Act in 1993. So this is very, very important. 3 mark question can be asked related to this. Kindly describe or kindly list out the key features of the Panchayat Raj system. When such question is asked, these things will become very, very important. Okay. We have not yet have a look at this. What is this screen? Let us see the screen a little bit. Decentralization definition is there mentioned here. Let us read it out for you. Providing administrative power and the responsibility of developing the village to people themselves is called decentralization. It is a process through which power sharing occurs and people participate in decision making. It is also a process that aims at planning and development from below. This process was called as Gram Swarajya by Mahatma Gandhi. It is also a process that aims at planning and development from below. This process was called as Gram Swarajya by Mahatma Gandhi. The Panchayat Raj system has been enacted in India in order to promote decentralization. The Government of India enacted the 73rd Constitutional Amendment Act in 1993, which established a uniform system of Panchayat Raj institution throughout the country. The act conferred constitutional status to the Panchayat institutions. Yeah, we also discussed questions related to this. We are clearly on the topic, and we are not deviating from the topic. Let us try to understand the key features of the Panchayat Raj system adopted in India. See, this Panchayat Raj system has got 6 important facts, 6 important things. So those things we will try to discuss now. As I already mentioned, a 3-tier structure. Can you see this image? 3-tier structure. So 3-tier structure of a district, taluk and village panchayats. Let me repeat. District panchayat or Jilla panchayat, taluk panchayat and village panchayats with the Grama Sabha as foundation. Grama Sabha as foundation. Grama Sabha means this is the this Sabha has all people who are there in voter list of a village. If you take any village, in that village panchayat, all the people who are crossed 18 years are eligible to vote. So that people voters list whoever has they has to meet once in 6 months and take all the decisions. That is called as Grama Sabha at village levels. This is the foundation for this decentralization activity. First point related to key features of Panchayat Raj system. A 3-tier structure of district panchayat, taluk panchayat, village panchayats with the Grama Sabha as foundation. First point is related to 3-tier structure. The second one is direct and periodic elections. If second one is related to direct and periodic elections. The third one is related to reservation. So whom do we need to give the reservation? The reservation of seats to scheduled caste, SC, scheduled tribe, ST, backward classes, or it is also called as other backward classes, OBC and women. So this third point is related to reservation for scheduled caste, SC, scheduled tribe, ST, and other backward classes, OBC and women. Then the next point is related to we have enacted 3-tier system, and we are also conducting direct and periodic elections, and reservation is given to the people. And how to run this institution? In order to run this institution, finance is required. So the next point is related to finance, providing or provision of financial and administrative responsibilities, budget and audit requirements. See, the fourth point is related to providing financial assistance, administrative responsibility, frequent budget and audit requirements of the panchayat institutions. The next important key feature of this Panchayat Raj institution is provision for executive or support staff. Since the people who represent who elected for Grama Panchayats or village panchayat, taluk panchayat and district panchayat, most of them are not that much literates, and they have also don't have administrative skills. In order to help them, there is a provision for executive and support staff. The last point, a strict procedure for dissolution and suppression of panchayats and mandatory elections within 6 months of dissolution. So these are all the 6 points. Let me repeat again, and I will also tell you in ಕನ್ನಡದಲ್ಲಿ ಒಂದ್ಸಲ ಹೇಳ್ಬಿಡ್ತೀನಿ ನಾನು ಇದನ್ನ. ಈಗ ಗ್ರಾಮ ಪಂಚಾಯಿತಿ, ತಾಲೂಕ್ ಪಂಚಾಯಿತಿ ಮತ್ತು ಜಿಲ್ಲಾ ಪಂಚಾಯಿತಿ ಅಂತ ಹೇಳ್ಬಿಟ್ಟು 3 ಹಂತದಲ್ಲಿ ಪಂಚಾಯಿತಿ ಇದೆ. ಇದಕ್ಕೆ ಏನು ತಳಹದಿ ಫೌಂಡೇಶನ್ ಏನಂತಂದ್ರೆ ಗ್ರಾಮ ಸಭೆ. ಈ ಗ್ರಾಮ ಸಭೆಯಲ್ಲಿ ಗ್ರಾಮದಲ್ಲಿರ್ತಕ್ಕಂಥ ಎಲ್ಲ ಮತದಾರರ ಪಟ್ಟಿಯಲ್ಲಿರ್ತಕ್ಕಂಥ ಎಲ್ಲರೂ ಕೂಡ ಇದರಲ್ಲಿ ಭಾಗವಹಿಸ್ತಾರೆ ನಿರ್ಧಾರಗಳ ತಗೊಳ್ಳಿಕ್ಕೆ. 3 ಹಂತದ ಒಂದು ಪಂಚಾಯತ್ ವ್ಯವಸ್ಥೆ ಇದೆ. ಇವುಗಳಿಗೆ ನೇರ ಮತ್ತು ನಿಯಮಿತ ಚುನಾವಣೆಗಳನ್ನು ನಡೆಸ್ತಾರೆ. ಡೈರೆಕ್ಟ್ ಅಂಡ್ ಪೀರಿಯಾಡಿಕ್ ಎಲೆಕ್ಷನ್ಸ್ ಅನ್ನೋದು ನಡೀತಾ ಇದೆ. ಇದು 2ನೇ ಕೀ ಫ್ಯೂಚರ್. 3ನೇದಾಗಿ ಮೀಸಲಾತಿಯನ್ನು ನೀಡಿದ್ದಾರೆ. ಯಾರ್ಯಾರಿಗೆ ಮೀಸಲಾತಿಯನ್ನು ನೀಡಿದ್ದಾರೆ? ಪರಿಶಿಷ್ಟ ಜಾತಿಗಳಿಗಿದೆ, ಪರಿಶಿಷ್ಟ ಪಂಗಡಗಳಿಗಿದೆ, ಹಿಂದುಳಿದ ವರ್ಗಗಳಿಗಿದೆ ಮತ್ತೆ ಮಹಿಳೆಯರಿಗೆ. ಈ 4 ವರ್ಗಗಳಿಗೂ ಕೂಡ ಏನು ಮೀಸಲಾತಿಯನ್ನ ನೀಡಿರತಕ್ಕಂಥದ್ದು ಒಂದು ಅತಿ ಮುಖ್ಯವಾದಂತಹ ಒಂದು ಇದರ ಒಂದು ಲಕ್ಷಣ, ಕೀ ಫೀಚರ್ ಆಗಿರ್ತದೆ. ಮತ್ತೆ ಇದರಲ್ಲಿ ಹಣಕಾಸು ಆಗಿರ್ಬೋದು, ಆಡಳಿತಾತ್ಮಕ ವಿಷಯಗಳಿಗೆ ಸಂಬಂಧಿಸಿರ್ತಕ್ಕಂಥ ಆಗಿರ್ಬೋದು, ಮುಂಗಡ ಪತ್ರ ಆಗಿರ್ಬೋದು, ಮತ್ತೆ ಲೆಕ್ಕಪಕ್ಕಗಳನ್ನು ನೋಡ್ಕೊಳ್ಳುವಂತಹ ಜವಾಬ್ದಾರಿಗಳನ್ನು ಕೂಡ ಇವುಗಳಿಗೆ ನೀಡಿದ್ದಾರೆ. ಇದು ಒಂದು ಇಂಪಾರ್ಟೆಂಟ್ ಪಾಯಿಂಟ್. ನೆಕ್ಸ್ಟ್, ಇದು ಸುಸೂತ್ರವಾಗಿ ಕಾರ್ಯನಿರ್ವಹಿಸಿಕೊಂಡು ಹೋಗ್ಲಿ ಅಂತ ಹೇಳ್ಬಿಟ್ಟು ಕಾರ್ಯವನ್ನು ನಿರ್ವಹಿಸಲಿಕ್ಕೆ ಕಾರ್ಯನಿರ್ವಾಹಕರು ಆಗಿರ್ಬೋದು ಮತ್ತೆ ಇತರ ಸಿಬ್ಬಂದಿಯನ್ನು ಕೂಡ ಈ ಒಂದು ಪಂಚಾಯತ್ ರಾಜ್ ಇನ್ಸ್ಟಿಟ್ಯೂಷನ್ಸ್ಗೆ ನೀಡಿದ್ದಾರೆ. ಇದರ ಜೊತೆಗೆ ಪಂಚಾಯತಿಯನ್ನ 5 ವರ್ಷಗಳಿಗೊಂದ್ಸಲ ನಿಯಮಿತವಾಗಿ ಇದನ್ನ ವಿಸರ್ಜಿಸಿಬಿಟ್ಟು ಕಟ್ಟುನಿಟ್ಟಾದ ರೀತಿಯಲ್ಲಿ ಒಂದು ಚುನಾವಣೆಗಳನ್ನ ನಡೆಸ್ತಾರೆ. ಅದು ಅದರ ಟರ್ಮ್ ಆಫ್ ಆಫೀಸ್ ಆದ ತಕ್ಷಣ 6 ತಿಂಗಳೊಳಗಡೆ ಕಟ್ಟುನಿಟ್ಟಾದಂತಹ ಒಂದು ಚುನಾವಣೆಯನ್ನು ನಡೆಸ್ತಕ್ಕಂಥದ್ದು ಕೂಡ ಇದರ ಒಂದು ಅತಿ ಮುಖ್ಯವಾದಂತಹ ಒಂದು ಲಕ್ಷಣ ಆಗಿದೆ. ಸೊ ದೀಸ್ ಆರ್ ಆಲ್ ದ 6 key features of Panchayat Raj institutions. First one is related to A three-tier structure which includes a district panchayat, taluk panchayat and a village panchayat. The base for this system is a Gram Sabha as a foundation. Direct and periodic elections. Second point. Third point is related to reservation. Reservation seats for scheduled caste, scheduled tribe, OBC and women. And fourth one is related to provision for major financial and administrative responsibilities, budget and other audit requirements. The fifth one is related to provisions for support staff or executive staff, and a strict procedure for dissolution as well as suppression of panchayats and mandatory elections within a span of 6 months of dissolution. ಸೊ ತಮಗೆ ಇದ್ರ ಬಗ್ಗೆ ಸ್ಪಷ್ಟತೆ ಸಿಕ್ತು ಅಂತ ಅನಿಸ್ತದೆ. ನಿಮ್ಗೇನಾದರೂ ಇದ್ರ ಬಗ್ಗೆ ಮೆಮೊರಿ ಟ್ರಿಕ್ ಏನಾದರೂ ಬೇಕಾಗಿದ್ರೆ ಪಂಚಾಯತ್ ರಾಜ್ ಇನ್ಸ್ಟಿಟ್ಯೂಷನ್ಸ್ಗೆ ದಯವಿಟ್ಟು ಕಾಮೆಂಟ್ ಮಾಡಿ. ನಾನು ಅದರ ರಿಲೇಟೆಡ್ ಒಂದು ಮೆಮೊರಿ ಟ್ರಿಕ್ ಬೇಕಾದರೆ ರೆಡಿ ಮಾಡಿ ನಿಮಗೆ ಕೊಡ್ತೀನಿ, ತುಂಬ ಈಸಿಯಾಗಿ ಹೆಂಗೆ ಇದನ್ನು ಜ್ಞಾಪಕ ಇಟ್ಕೊಳ್ಳೋದು ಅಂತ. ದೆನ್ ದ ನೆಕ್ಸ್ಟ್ ಥಿಂಗ್ ಈಸ್ ವೆರಿ ವೆರಿ ಇಂಪಾರ್ಟೆಂಟ್. ವಿ ನೀಡ್ ಟು ರಿಮೆಂಬರ್ ದಿ ನಂಬರ್ ಆಫ್ ವಿಲೇಜ್ ಪಂಚಾಯತ್ಸ್ ವಿಚ್ ಆರ್ ದೇರ್ ಇನ್ ಆರ್ ಕರ್ನಾಟಕ, ತಾಲೂಕ್ ಪಂಚಾಯತ್ಸ್ ಅಂಡ್ district panchayats. At present in Karnataka we have about 6,022 village panchayats and 176 taluk panchayats and 30 district panchayats or jilla panchayats are there in Karnataka. ಈಗ ಕರ್ನಾಟಕ ರಾಜ್ಯದಲ್ಲಿ ಇದು ಅತಿ ಮುಖ್ಯವಾದಂತಹ ಅಂಕಿಅಂಶ, ಪ್ರಶ್ನೆ ಬರುವ ಸಾಧ್ಯತೆ ಇರ್ತದೆ ಪರೀಕ್ಷೆಯಲ್ಲಿ, ಗಮನವಿಟ್ಟು ಕೇಳ್ಕೊಳ್ಳಿ. ಕರ್ನಾಟಕದಲ್ಲಿ ಪ್ರಸ್ತುತ 6022 ಗ್ರಾಮ ಪಂಚಾಯತಿಗಳಿದ್ದಾವೆ, 176 ತಾಲೂಕು ಪಂಚಾಯತಿಗಳಿದ್ದಾವೆ, 30 ಜಿಲ್ಲಾ ಪಂಚಾಯತಿಗಳು ಇದ್ದಾವೆ. 30 ಜಿಲ್ಲಾ ಪಂಚಾಯತಿಗಳು ಇದ್ದಾವೆ. ಇದು ಸ್ಪಷ್ಟತೆ ಸಿಕ್ತು ಅಂತ ಅನ್ಸುತ್ತೆ. ಲೆಟ್ ಅಸ್ ಸಿ ವಾಟ್ ಈಸ್ ದೇರ್ ಇನ್ ದ ಸ್ಕ್ರೀನ್. ಫೀಚರ್ಸ್ ಆಫ್ ಡಿಸೆಂಟ್ರಲೈಸೇಷನ್. Most of the time I may not be doing any error, but let us see what is there in the point. The first point, a three-tier structure of district, taluk and village panchayats with the Grama Sabha as a foundation. Second one, direct and periodic elections. Third one, reservation of seats for scheduled castes, SCs, and scheduled tribes, STs, backward classes and women. Fourth point, provision of major financial and administrative responsibilities, budget and audit requirements. Fifth point, provision for executive or support staff. And sixth point, a strict procedure for dissolution or suppression of panchayats and mandatory elections within 6 months of dissolution. See, the sixth point is very interesting, which has got 6 months clause in it. Elections has to happen 6 months of dissolution. Sixth point has got 6 and fifth point has got a sound of provisions for executive or supportive staff. These 2 points you no need to do anything. You easily will remember. Let's move on. If you can shift the third point to fourth place, 4R. This is the rhyming which I taught you in a particular activity. R means reservation of seats for scheduled castes and scheduled tribes, backward classes and women reservation. You will get it. So move that reservation to fourth place, and the second point, direct and periodic elections, move to second place. You will get this answer because one means TRD, direct and periodical elections according to phonetic system memory technique, move to first place, and first point move to third place. 3. A three-tier structure of direct district, taluk and village panchayats with the Gram Sabha as foundation. So kindly adjust this simple thing. I am repeating again. Sixth point, let it be in the sixth point. Then fifth point, let it be in the fifth point. You will get it. Only thing is first one has to be moved to third place, and second one has to be moved to first place, and third one has to be moved to fourth place. ಇಫ್ ಯು ಡೂ ದಿಸ್ ಇಟ್ ವಿಲ್ ಬಿ ವೆರಿ ಈಸಿ. ಇದು ಜ್ಞಾಪಕ ಇಟ್ಕೊಳ್ಳಿಕ್ಕೆ ನಾನು ಹೇಳ್ತಾ ಇದ್ದೀನಿ. ಒಂದನೇ ಪಾಯಿಂಟನ್ನ ಮೂರನೇ ಪ್ಲೇಸ್ಗೆ ತಗೊಂಡ್ಬಂದ್ಬಿಡಿ, ಎರಡನೇ ಪಾಯಿಂಟನ್ನ ಫಸ್ಟ್ ಪ್ಲೇಸ್ಗೆ ತಗೊಂಡೋಗಿ, ಮೂರನೇ ಪಾಯಿಂಟ್ನ ನಾಲ್ಕನೇ ಪ್ಲೇಸಲ್ಲಿ ಇಡಿಸ್ಬಿಡಿ. ಇನ್ನು 4 ಮತ್ತು 5 ಅದರೇ ಪ್ಲೇಸಲ್ಲಿ ಇರಲಿ, ನಿಮಗೆ ಜ್ಞಾಪಕ ಬಂದುಬಿಡ್ತದೆ. 1 ಈಸ್ ಫಸ್ಟ್ ಸ್ಟ್ಯಾಂಡ್ಸ್ ಫಾರ್ ಡಿ, ಡೈರೆಕ್ಟ್ ಆ್ಯಂಡ್ ಪೀರಿಯಾಡಿಕ್ ಎಲೆಕ್ಷನ್. ಸೆಕೆಂಡ್ ಪ್ಲೇಸಲ್ಲಿ ಈ ಪ್ರಾವಿಷನ್ ಫಾರ್ ಮೇಜರ್ ಫಿನಾನ್ಷಿಯಲ್ ಆ್ಯಂಡ್ ಅಡ್ಮಿನಿಸ್ಟ್ರೇಟಿವ್ ರೆಸ್ಪಾನ್ಸಿಬಿಲಿಟೀಸ್, ಬಜೆಟ್ ಆ್ಯಂಡ್ ಆಡಿಟ್ ರಿಕ್ವೈರ್ಮೆಂಟ್ಸ್ ಪಾಯಿಂಟ್ ಇಟ್ಕೊಂಡ್ಬಿಟ್ರೆ ದಟ್ಸ್ ಇಟ್. ಯು ಕ್ಯಾನ್ ಬಿ ಏಬಲ್ ಟು ರಿಮೆಂಬರ್ ದೀಸ್ ಪಾಯಿಂಟ್ಸ್. ನಾನು ಹಂಗೆ ಜ್ಞಾಪಕ ಇಟ್ಕೊಂಡಿದ್ದೀನಿ. You can, if you wish, you can also remember like this. So next point, next one is very very important. Elucidate or describe the role of Panchayat Raj institutions in rural development. Panchayat Raj institutions has strengthened the rural areas. Justify. Inga kuda 4 mark question keluva ಸಾಧ್ಯತೆ ಇರ್ತದೆ. Role of Panchayat Raj institutions. ಫೀಚರ್ಸ್ ಆಫ್ ಡಿಸೆಂಟ್ರಲೈಸೇಷನ್ ಆಯಿತು. ಈಗ ನೆಕ್ಸ್ಟ್ ಬಂದ್ಬಿಟ್ಟು ದ ರೋಲ್ ಆಫ್ ಪಂಚಾಯತ್ ರಾಜ್ ಇನ್ಸ್ಟಿಟ್ಯೂಷನ್ ಇನ್ ರೂರಲ್ ಡೆವಲಪ್ಮೆಂಟ್. ವಿ ನೀಡ್ ಟು ಅಂಡರ್ಸ್ಟ್ಯಾಂಡ್ ಒನ್ ಥಿಂಗ್. ಸಿನ್ಸ್ ದಿಸ್ ಪಂಚಾಯತ್ ರಾಜ್ ಇನ್ಸ್ಟಿಟ್ಯೂಷನ್ಸ್ ಆರ್ ಸ್ಟ್ರಕ್ಚರ್ಡ್ and established at all the places of the country, they play an important or predominant role in enabling rural people to participate in rural development. As I already mentioned, since the administrative power is given to the rural people, and the rural people are responsible for the development of their own area, because of this the Panchayat Raj institutions play an important key predominant role in enabling the rural people to participate in rural development. The responsible for the rural, the Panchayat Raj institutions, they are responsible for implementing various schemes which are focusing on eradication of poverty and giving livelihood security, besides providing public facilities or amenities. I am repeating an important point. Kindly remember, the Panchayat Raj institutions are responsible for implementing various state and central government schemes and programs which are intended to alleviate or eradicate the poverty and provide livelihood security, as well as besides providing public facilities or amenities. The Panchayat Raj institutions also provide the rural people's basic facilities. So while we discussing about the importance of rural development, we spoke development of infrastructure. See, the Panchayat Raj institutions plays a predominant role in the development of infrastructure like pure drinking water, drainage system, irrigation facilities, proper transportation, proper communication, proper sanitization, schools, hospitals, then toilets, lights, correct proper hospital buildings, all those things. In order to develop all these things, the Panchayat Raj institutions plays a predominant role. The first one is related to the implementation of programs. The second one is related to development of infrastructure facilities like pure drinking water, drainage system, transportation systems, street lights, public hospitals, market yards, all other things comes under this rural development activities of Panchayat Raj institutions. Then the primary responsibility of this Panchayat Raj institution is very very important. They also educate and bring awareness among the rural people to get primary and middle school education. They encourage the people, they motivate the people, and they give awareness to the rural people to get primary and say middle education, and not only primary and middle education, other sort of education like technical education, vocational trainings, and they also sensitize people on health and hygienic facilities. They also try to develop the human resources. Panchayat Raj institutions plays a predominant role in giving awareness to the people about education, health, hygienic facilities, and they develop the human resources. Then the Grama Sabha, which I already mentioned, Grama Sabha is very important, plays very important role. Compulsorily once in 6 months Grama Sabha has to be conducted at each and every village. So this Grama Sabha has got all the adults whose names are there in voters list of the particular village. All those voters who are there in the voters list will meet in once in 6 months and they will decide various development activities which has to be done at village level. This is also an important role of Panchayat Raj institution. Then not only related to Grama Sabhas, so they also the Panchayat Raj institutions they also take care of local planning. They also prepares various development schemes during its meetings. It is related to all the various infrastructure facilities programs will be organized by this Panchayat Raj institution. Not only that, various central and state government programs like you might have heard about this Mahatma Gandhi National Rural Employment Guarantee Scheme, MGNREGS. Mahatma Gandhi National Rural Employment Guarantee Scheme. So this is for employment generation and poverty eradication program implemented by central government. So the responsibility of this Panchayat Raj institutions to implement this program properly. I am repeating this program name again. The Panchayat Raj institutions play a predominant role in implementation of various state and central government programs, among which central government program which is intended to generate employment as well as eradication of poverty, that is Mahatma Gandhi National Rural Employment Guarantee Scheme, MGNREGS. Then in what you say Panchayat level, you will also have various housing schemes also, like you might have heard about Ashraya Yojana in rural areas, and you will also have Ambedkar and Valmiki housing programs. Ambedkar Awas Yojana is there, Valmiki Awas Yojana is there, Pradhan Mantri Awas Yojana is there. Various programs in order to give a shelter to the rural areas. So in order to provide and implement this program, Panchayat Raj institution plays a predominant role. You need to remember, program implementation means implementation of MGNREGS and Pradhan Mantri Awas Yojana, Ashraya Yojana, Ambedkar and Valmiki housing programs. Ambedkar, these programs names you need to mention if a question is asked related to implementation of programs. Then not only this, in the rural areas, I hope you might have visited this public ration distribution system. You might have visited this. In order to public distribution system in villages, the Panchayat Raj institutions plays a predominant role, because they ensure each and every household which is there in the village we would get food grains which are issued by state and central government, and they also try to give like identifying various backward classes, various deprived classes, various people who are facing problems in the society, like widows, mentally retarded people or mentally challenged people, and physically disabled people, and old people, are various schemes, and they also make sure all these people who are deprived and who are having problems receives all the programs which are implemented by the government. I am just speaking about various programs which are done by Panchayat Raj institutions. Not only this, in order to help the women, they also Panchayat Raj institution forms various self-help groups where all the people are brought together and they are encouraged to involve in various productive activities so that national development take place. Then the Panchayat Raj institution can also organize various cultural activities at village levels in order to identify various skills which are hidden in rural people. Then these Panchayat Raj institutions also give various trainings, as well as they also provide various trainings on agriculture, fishery, poultry farming, social forestry. All those things will be provided by Panchayat Raj institutions. In this forms, the Panchayat Raj institutions plays a predominant role, a significant role in bring about an overall development of the rural areas. So now let me repeat all the various points which are related to the role of Panchayat Raj institutions in the rural development. So they try to implement various programs. They try to develop various infrastructure facilities at rural areas. They also try to organize Grama Sabhas at village level. Then various central and state government schemes related to poverty eradication and shelter related housing schemes will be implemented by Panchayat Raj institutions. Then in identifying weaker sections of the society like widows, mentally challenged or mentally retarded, physically challenged people, and make sure that people will get the programs and various facilities by the government. The Panchayat Raj institutions also help the women to form self-help groups to strengthen their ability and participation in the society. Panchayat Raj institution also provides various trainings and employment opportunities to the people. By doing all these activities, Panchayat Raj institutions plays a